Oh, we've tried a lot of things at our organization that haven't worked. Yeah, and we've had to kind of revisit. We tried going all in on Agile as an organization. I'll tell you, like that was a rough year.
This is the In-House Podcast, a series where leaders in in-house marketing and advertising tell their stories. I'm Craig Tepper, co-founder of In.Studio, a digital production consultancy for in-house agencies. We're producing this podcast to create a community where best practices, advice, and hard-learned lessons from our friends and colleagues across the industry can be shared. For this episode, I spoke with Beth Ann Mandia, who's a leader of the in-house team at TruStage. Beth Ann, or BAM as she likes to be called, built TruStage's team in reaction to a restructuring of the company and its marketing. She's a process-driven creative, and this ethos has defined the way she runs things at TruStage. She shares her approach to leading creative in financial services, the challenges of compliance in that industry, and the pleasure in geeking out over well-written copy. And now, Beth Ann Mandia, in her own words.
My name is Beth Ann Mandia. I also go by BAM. I am the Director of Creative Services at TruStage. TruStage is a financial services company. We are focused on helping people achieve financial security through insurance and financial services. We work heavily within the credit union space, partnering with financial institutions to create products that support their members. My team has a in-house agency. We operate like an in-house agency, handling everything from creative strategy, and we partner on brand development and tactical execution across multiple channels within our business. While we're not really a full service agency in the traditional sense, we cover a broad range of the creative needs within our organization, including digital, print, video, campaign development, things like that. My team has 35 full-time employees. We're a fully remote team, right, with a mix of creative execution, leads. We have creative operations, traffic managers, designers, writers, producers. We started working remotely during the pandemic, and we never went back into the office after that. TruStage decided to build an in-house team when we consolidated our organization to one TruStage brand a few years ago. We reorganized our company to centralize multiple disciplines within the org, marketing being one of those disciplines. And the decision to build an in-house team was driven by the need to have greater brand consistency, more speed, efficiency within the org. Having an in-house team helped our brand, our compliance audience understanding within the marketing organization. I was with TruStage prior to this, and the decision to build an in-house agency was mine to make when we consolidated our organization and centralized the marketing discipline. The decision to run an in-house team really was because we wanted to bring that subject matter expertise to the table as, again, as our organization centralized and organized under one brand. I think for me, having the ability to have a team within the org that had a deep knowledge of our brand was very important to meet the business needs as we centralize the whole organization. Our organization is very complicated, and I think in the financial industry in general, there's a lot of complexities with our products and services, regulatory and otherwise. So having a team in-house that really brings that subject matter expertise, not only on the products and services, but with those regulatory considerations is very helpful. My background is agency. I did grow up in the agency world quite a bit, and then I had an in-house team much smaller than this one at on the client side for a little bit before I was brought to TruStage. The differences between agency and working at an in-house, I think, what's interesting about it is you can't walk away when you work in-house, which I think, to me is the exciting part, right? Unlike an agency, we don't have the option to kind of turn away challenges. We're in it for the long haul, which means we have to build really strong relationships and advocate for great work from within the organization that we are accountable to. And I love that. I think we have to balance the business objectives with the creative excellence while working in this corporate structure that may not always prioritize creative innovation, but we are tasked with that, and I love that about being in an in-house agency. Balancing creative content in a financial space is, I think, the best part about my job. That's my favorite thing, because you have to take compliance and regulatory consideration into your creative process, which, it requires us to be thoughtful in how we develop content. Financial services may not be the most exciting topic to our consumers or our customers, but we focus on making the message relatable and engaging while maintaining that trust and clarity that the compliance team or our regulators approve of, which I think, is the balance that any good financial creative team has to do. The way my team keeps creative going, we have a myriad of ways. So our first is really good process, and I think it's counterintuitive sometimes to think about creatives being process driven, but our processes are extremely lean in order to give creatives the time they need to be creative. So the way I run my team, and I will tell anybody who I'm interviewing or bringing onto the team for the first time, if you can't be a process-driven creative, then you probably won't succeed on my team. And I'm very transparent with that up front, because I think you have to have a very good creative process to enable your creative team to produce great creative. So I think that's step number one. And then step number two is, therefore, you give your creatives time to create, which for us is the job, right? To give great, interesting, customer-centric creative in, again, a relatively uninteresting space, right? So we also will spend time just really geeking out over well-written copy about insurance products, which is fun for us. And we do that with each other. And, so if somebody writes really cool copy that we've never heard before that compliance will say yes to, we get really excited about that. So, we hold space for both process and then really great financial creative. Yeah, an example of how our process works, so I would say we work with an agile mentality, but a lean management methodology. And so we iterate, but in a structured environment. So the way I would say that works is we have daily meetings, right? Where that's almost like a scrum, right? So we have daily meetings where we look at all the projects, make sure we don't have any roadblocks. Everybody has access to everyone on the team in those meetings. So we're making sure, is there anything in the way? What needs to be worked on? Assigning new projects, things like that. And everyone from myself to every individual contributor on the team is in that meeting, where we just, ensure we're tackling what's happening for the day. And then we have metrics meetings where we're weekly, where we're looking at how much throughput we're getting done. Is there what projects went over, under? Why did that happen? What are the root causes? So all those types of things, and then of course after projects are over, we have retros to look at, okay, what went wrong? Where are the trends? What are the things that are popping up in different areas of the business? Who do we have to go talk to and see where projects are getting roadblocks, whether it's with our clients, whether it's with our execution workers, like all those things, right? Along the line, where's the things and how do we then solve them? And so those are just a couple of examples of the process that's working. Yeah, I mean, we do have to get approvals from our clients, from our compliance partners. And we have a very lean process on that too. Our partners know they have X amount of days to give us feedback. They have X amount of days to give us approvals. And every time that goes over, the project pushes, right? So, and not in a negative way, but everyone knows what the rules are, and our compliance partners are great. We have a 3-day SLA on turnarounds, which I think is excellent in our industry. And I think part of that is because we talk to them so many times along the way. We have such an open relationship that we can call them and say, hey, we're thinking about wording something this way. Is that going to hit us a roadblock when we put this in for your approvals? Yes, no, okay, we're feeling good about it. Great, let's move forward. So there's a lot of that relationships that have just been built along the way. The basic agreement is we have a timeline at the beginning of the project that's laid out, and scope creep means dates push. X means dates push. Approvals late means dates push. And look, we're not super rigid. If we learned something, a test came in and we had a huge winner, so we have to change copy or a design because this is going to make us X amount of dollars. Okay, we're not going to say no. I'm not going to ruin the business because our process. So it's a flexible process too when things are important for for business needs, but it's also a process that we really try to adhere to because otherwise it's mayhem. We have really worked hard with our partners to ensure that across marketing, the creative process fits in with the overarching marketing process. And so there's I think our whole entire marketing operations work like a well-oiled machine, and we do the best we can to have all the teams, the media team, the creative team, the strategy team, the marketing operations team, working in conjunction with each other's processes so that everybody's piece of the puzzle fit together, and creative's not standing in alone trying to just push our process through. Everybody's processes work together to ensure all of our timelines are handoffs. It's like a relay race, right? And everybody passes the baton at the right time. And of course, it's not always 100% perfect. That would be silly to pretend that all of our jobs are going to always be great. But most of the time, we all know what we need to do to get the work out the door, and that's why our organization is successful. We have a CMO who runs our marketing organization, and under his purview is brand, creative services, marketing operations, strategy, and media. So I lead the creative services team, but of course we all work hand in hand. And, I'm very closely aligned with my brand partner, very closely aligned with my media partner, and we all, and of course strategy and marketing. I mean, we all our teams work really closely together to bring our campaigns to life. And of course, all of us work really closely together to bring the marketing team together. Yeah. Oh, we've tried a lot of things at our organization that haven't worked. Yeah. And we've had to kind of revisit. I mean, the only constant I think in any good business is change. And, which is why I really like TruStage as an organization. When I said earlier we adopt an agile mentality but not methodology, we tried going all in on agile as an organization. And some teams still work in agile light, I would say. But, trying to put direct mail into an agile framework was really hard, right? And so I'll tell you, that was a rough year when we really tried to pigeonhole a waterfall process into an agile framework. And so that was a tough time. So, those are some mistakes we made as an organization, but it's okay. We all made it through and we're all still here and it's okay, so yeah, I mean, we try to go all in on some things and sometimes it doesn't work out and you do it and you say, okay, what did we learn? We learned that agile mentality is okay to use versus agile methodology, and that's fine. And so we all think like, okay, well, how can we make direct mail iterative without going all in on the Scrum, right? And I think we all are better for it because we think differently about direct mail, but we certainly know we can't pigeonhole a process that doesn't work into a process that, doesn't work. TruStage we do work with external agencies when we need to. So while we handle a significant portion of marketing in-house, we partner with agencies for specialized projects or overflow capacity, fresh perspectives. And there's certain things that we do not manage in-house across the marketing org. When I go to an external agency, it would be for, I would say like a complex expertise or a niche skill that we don't have in-house. So recently we did a enormous brand media shoot, right? And this is where we capture our photography and videography for 2-year period of time. My team is not set up to do a massive shoot like that, where we're like out for 5 or 6 days shooting 250 talent for a huge brand, and we shoot all of our B-roll, all of our photography. We're talking about thousands and thousands of so we do use external agencies for things like that. Like that's a massive undertaking that, we need a large scale agency to help us with that. So that's, something we would do. We would look to work with somebody externally for. So the creative services team success is measured in a few ways. We track performance metrics for campaigns, and our creative team is, of course, judged on those metrics. But internally, we also track turnaround times, throughput. We track internal stakeholder satisfaction through surveys and feedback loops. We have a couple of other metrics, like I was talking about earlier. If our projects are on time, from start to finish, if we're making sure our tasks and things are closed on time. So we have some internal metrics like those types of things that we also measure. Our marketing leadership team meets quite frequently to ensure that we are all aligned and rowing in the same direction. We also meet with our CMO on a regular basis, of course, to make sure. We also meet to report out on our team's metrics and the marketing team metrics as well. So yeah, I mean, the CMO and his leadership team are meeting quite often, and we also meet with extended marketing leadership team, right? So folks outside of his direct report group. We're bringing in folks from the multicultural team, the insights team, the digital team, analytics, right, are also often coming into his team meetings to just make sure that the whole organization, not just marketing, but our key partners are aligned, and we're understanding what their goals are, and that we're aligning our marketing goals to the business goals as well. So the way we plan at the beginning of each quarter is I have an operations lead who sits in planning meetings, quarterly planning meetings, and at a certain it would be almost like almost like an agile planning session. So each of our marketing planning areas kind of sits in a room with different areas, creative, marketing, operations, and then we'll say, okay, here's all the work I have planned for the quarter. Where do we have to cut off? And my creative operations manager knows, okay, we have X percentage of this person who's going to work on this product. We have X percentage of this person or this business area. And at a certain point, he knows that person's filled up, that person's filled up, that person's filled up. Okay, we can still take more in this area, but we can't, this person's done. That's, every quarter we're going through a planning process to say, here's where your work stops. And if you want more, if you want us to do this job, you got to take something else off the list, or you got to work with somebody else to say, are you going to give me some of your time? Because people can't float. and I heard you have still capacity. Can I slip a job under there, and start moving things around, moving the cards around. Making remote work has actually been easier than I thought it would be. We really took to it. We started with the daily meetings because we didn't know what it was going to be like to work from home. None of us were expecting it, and we never really didn't know what to do. And we enjoyed it, doing the daily meetings that we've kept on now. It's been quite a few years. We have a lot of FaceTime with one another. We're a pretty cameras on team. We have a really good rapport with one another. And when we centralized and I had a couple more teams join under me besides the team that I started leading when I began at TruStage, it was relatively easy to kind of bring them into the fold. And I think that's because of the culture we built with this daily morning meeting. And I think a lot of that openness to just ping somebody if you have a question. Hey, can I chat with you for 5 minutes? People are, again, we have a good face-to-face culture that it's almost like, hey, when you used to walk by somebody's office and just pop up, that Teams, do you have 5 minutes today? Because I just want to ask you a quick question, is really, it is a healthy way, I think, for all of us to, including myself. Like I ping people all the time. You got 5 minutes? I'd rather talk to you face to face for 5 minutes than write a message on a Teams chat. And so I think that's something we do really well. We also have Fun Fridays. Our morning meeting on Friday is always a game. We don't talk about work. We just play games. And so I just think having that fun time to get to know each other is nice. So there's just a little bit of and it gets people relaxed, and again, when you have a team of 35, it's hard to get to know one another, but just chilling out for an hour is okay. And that's a nice way of letting people know that too. Like, hey, it's the end of the week. We're going to just start the morning off with a little bit of fun. And, that's okay. We're all going to just relax for a minute. We do get together in person as well once a year. We've done it once a year, trying to do it twice a year this year. We've voted where we would like to go around the country since we're everywhere. Last year we went to Madison since a lot of people were new, and so people hadn't ever seen the central offices, so we did go to Madison, which was cool. The year before that we went to Savannah, and we try and do a training together that helps our team in some way either succeed in a business school or a team building opportunity. We do have quite a bit of ongoing content that we produce. We have, social media. We do multiple conferences a year that are enormous lifts for my team. We do a couple that we host actually in Madison, and then a couple that we attend, but they're, enormous national conferences and huge booth presences that we have. Those are really big and fun, really fun opportunities for our team to work on and bring excitement for the business, right? And those are things actually that used to be outsourced and that we now take in as the in-house agency, which is a really cool opportunity for our team to bring the brand to life in a different kind of way. So when we do the booths, we work with the booth design company to come up with the structure, and then we put the designs together, which, to highlight the brand and the goals that we're looking for. AI, while it's changing the way the industry operates, particularly in automation and operational efficiencies, we as a creative team do not currently use it in our day-to-day. So at TruStage, we've started having discussions. We've got a research spike this year to talk about how it's evolving and how it might provide us some opportunity in the future. But the key challenge, I think, for our team is to determine if it can help our workflow without sacrificing creativity, right? Sacrifice our brand. Our consumers are extremely hesitant to trust brands, right? Because we work with a middle market consumer who's been scorned by financial institutions in the past. And it's a very niche market that has trust issues. And so we want to be very cautious in how we work with AI and what our consumer and what we put in front of our consumer. The future of in-house, in my opinion, is I do believe that in-house agencies will continue to influence and grow and influence as companies realize the value of having creative resources embedded in their businesses. The challenge, I believe, will be maintaining creative excellence while balancing business priorities. I think the opportunities for impact are huge. As marketing becomes more data-driven, brands are looking for greater control over their messaging. And that's what I've seen within our organization, and I've seen it in other organizations. So in-house teams have to play a bigger role in shaping how brands engage with data, how that influences creative, and how we then present that to our audiences. If somebody was going to be starting an in-house team, I think the best piece of advice is to think about the business needs and what team you need to build to meet those business needs. So I was lucky enough when I was building this team to have visibility, and our whole marketing team was rebuilding at the same time, right? So I was able to be working with my peers to say, how are you building your teams? How are you building your teams? And I think to support the goals of what our organization was looking for. That's how I think of the best place to start is to say, what are the goals of your organization and what's the team you need to meet those goals?
I'd like to thank Beth Ann for taking the time to walk us through her experiences in building and running an in-house creative team. And if you're interested in expanding your own in-house capabilities, reach out to us at In.Studio. We're on the web at In.Studio.com. We have more in-house innovators in future episodes with plenty of informative stories and advice, so keep listening. Until next time.